Viewer voice messages. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. So y'all sent the messages. I told y'all, hey, give me a call. Send me voice messages during the game, after the game, before the game, whatever. And we're going to listen to them. We did it 2 or 3 last week. We're going to rip through a bunch today. Speakpipe.com. Send your message. There's a link in the description. It's easy. You can do it on your computer. You can do it on your phone. A lot of options. Who doesn't want to talk to the face of the franchise? All right, let's kick it off. CJ.
What's up, face of the franchise? I hope you're doing good, man. I really do think that people are jumping the gun way too quick to get to Shuck and just kick Rattler to the curb over having one bad game. And people are bringing up the Seahawks, but I feel like everybody was bad during the Seahawks.
Yeah, they were. And let me give you an example of what's going on. Rattler is the talisman. He's the quarterback. That's the most, the first place people look for a change. Sometimes people want to shake up the etch-a-sketch, right? They want to shake it up because they've been looking at the same picture for too long, right? They just want a new picture. They want to draw something new. No fault to the picture, but they've just been staring at the same thing. Saints fans have been staring at the same thing, and the same thing is losing. And fan is short for fanatic. So they're just shaking things up to shake things up. My pushback is that the next picture is probably going to be the same, if not worse, than the current picture, right? Because even if Tyler Shuck eventually is better than Rattler, okay, let's just say that, he still is a rookie quarterback. He still is going to have moments of where he's throwing picks and struggling and fumbling and not moving the offense. And, he's going to have to develop, and you're going to take those rookie lumps, and it's just going to happen, right? It's just going to, the team is not that great. The outfit is not that great. So I think it's kind of a fruitless endeavor in the short term. And, if you're thinking long term, like we just got to see him or whatever, then there wouldn't be that immediate, like, we need to see him now. I think then you'd be much more likely to be okay with waiting until the bye week when I think it makes the most sense to play Tyler Shuck.
It was just terrible all around. But this one was definitely on Rattler.
Yeah.
But I don't think that he should be written off so quick. I really think he should be given the chance to see how he bounces back. And I feel like depending on how he bounces back, and if it in a positive way or he continues to be bad. Because if he's in a positive way and going into the bye week, he improved or showed that he is improving, I really don't think that you should jump to Shuck even after the bye week. Even if they lose. Because the thing is, I feel like the coaching staff is smart enough to know that where the problems lie at. I feel like they're smart enough to know that if the problem lies with Rattler, obviously they will move on as far as how they should move on, even win or lose. But in my opinion, win or lose, I don't think they should move on from Rattler, especially mainly if he's playing good. That's really it. Now, if he's playing bad, whatever case may be, yes, definitely you got to do what you got to do.
If everything stays the same in the next 3 games, right, going into the bye week, and we lose to the Rams, Carolina, and the Bucs, I think at that point you do have to see what else you have. I mean, you did draft Tyler Shuck, and if you're 1-9 at that point, yeah, see what you got. Like at that, and if you got nothing, if Shuck comes in, he's not good, or he's struggling, or it gets worse, or whatever, go back to Rattler, fine. But you do have to kind of go through this exploratory period where we're at right now in every single position. Like Danny Stutzman's got to get work. Stallbird's got to get work. Riley got to get work. Sanker got to get work. Like all these guys got to get work. Torricelli Simpkins, try him at center. If it doesn't work, try somebody else, right? Try him at guard, move Ruiz to center, do all kind of stuff. The only things you really know moving forward is that Kelvin Banks is your left tackle and Talise Fuaga is your right tackle. That's it. Everything else is up for grabs. Everything else is a tryout, preseason, training camp, whatever, especially if you're 1-9, especially if you're, even worse. Now, if Rattler was to go like 3-0, we beat the Bucs, we beat the Panthers, we beat the Rams, and he's ripping it and he's taking a step forward and he bounces back in a big way, you probably don't then mess with that momentum. But if it's the same as it's been and he's playing okay, but we're 1-9, I think just for the exploratory side of things, you do have to see what you have in Shuck.
But I don't know. I just think it would be a little ridiculous kind of just kicking Rattler to the curb and being like, yeah, I mean, hey, you bounce back from this bad game and you've been playing exceptionally well, whatever the case may be, but we're going to just kick you to the curb. I don't know. I just think that's stupid in my opinion. And I just don't think that will really help anybody. I mean, that might help, Shuck get his chance, but I don't know. What do you think?
Thank you for the call. I appreciate the call. Yeah, I mean, not to mention, like, before the Chicago game, Rattler was like the 17th quarterback graded out. So, I mean, you're talking about if he plays 3 more games, you have a pretty good sample size. And if he's average to below average to whatever, then I don't know if that's good enough with the record as bad as it is to not see something else. All right, Simon, here we go.
What's up, face of the franchise? I have a question.
Yeah,
So
go
I
ahead.
remember at the beginning of the preseason time, around that,
Yeah.
you said something like Kellen Moore is going to be the best Saints head coach ever. I
Yeah.
just wanted to ask genuine question right here. Do you still believe that he will be the best Saints coach ever? I know there's a lot of season left to be played. I know there's a lot of unknowns for the future. But I just wanted to know, do you still feel that way, or do you kind of digress a little bit on that? I just want to know where you are on that. Thanks.
Thank you for the call. Yeah, I mean, I planted my flag very early on, and that I think Kellen Moore is as good as it gets. And I love Kellen Moore like a brother. And I have not walked it back. I mean, I don't, 6-7 games is certainly not long enough to completely shift on that. But I do think, and let's put it into perspective, right? I think Kellen is the perfect coach for right now in the NFL. I think he's an offensive mind. He's a young coach. He's an innovative coach. He's an analytical coach. He's willing to adapt. He's willing to pivot. He's a player's coach. He's everything you could possibly want in a head coach. And if given the roster and the time, I think he can be the next Sean Payton for the New Orleans Saints and has a chance to be even better than Sean Payton, right? Because he had a faster start. He had more of experience in the league and more experience in different spots and won a Super Bowl, and his resume is better than Sean Payton's, right? And you got to remember too, like, this is like the ultimate sitting at Buffalo Wild Wings kind of conversation where it's all just kind of theoretical, I guess. But Sean Payton had prime Drew Brees, peak prime Drew Brees, and went 7-9, 7-9, 7-9, and then 0-2 to start the season. Right before Alvin Kamara, Marshawn Lattimore, Michael Thomas all started getting a lot of work, and then the Saints go on that crazy run for a couple of years. And we all can agree Sean Payton is one of the best coaches ever. Certainly one of the best offensive coaches ever. We can all agree Drew Brees is one of the best quarterbacks of all time. I have him as the second greatest quarterback of all time. At the peak of his powers, right? At the peak of both of their powers, after winning a Super Bowl, after having the culture, after having the identity established, after having the fan base at the absolutely highest level, after having dome field advantage at the highest possible level, after having all of that buy-in, after being the offense that players wanted to go and play at, 7-9, 7-9, 7-9, 0-2. So during that time period, it could have been easy to be like, do you think Sean Payton should still be the coach of the New Orleans Saints? And a lot of people probably said no. A lot of people probably said his time's passed. Get him out of here. He doesn't know what he's doing anymore. His time's over, right? So there's a lot happening. And right now, I think the team is weak. The talent level is weak. And the first thing that's got to happen is the team has to get more talented. And that is on Kellen, no doubt about it. Like, that is on him and his coaches and his scouting department and the personnel or whatever to get better players, to nail these draft picks. I think we got a handful of players in this draft class that are really good. Can we do it again? And can we do it again? Can some of these players that we're trading for, like Devon Vele, can he be anything? He's not playing at all, right? Who is going to be the starting running back next year for the New Orleans Saints? Is it Alvin Kamara? I don't know. It's probably not going to be Kendre Miller. Is it Devin Neal? I don't know, right? Who's going to be on the edge? Who's going to be on the defensive line? Who's going to be the cornerbacks? Who's going to be whatever? Like, this is a full-scale build. They got to get that right in order for Kellen to potentially be what I think he could be. But I think Kellen, I am still as bullish on Kellen as I was in the preseason, for sure. Thank you for the call, my man. Much appreciated. Anonymous. The hacker group? Probably not.
Hey, James, fan from Houston here.
Shout out Houston. Never been, but I've been to Dallas, but never Houston. Watched the Texans last night. Despicable performance from Seattle, and I mean that game ended at like 12:30 a.m. I watched every single second. Seattle was absolutely miserable, and Houston never, ever was going to win that game. Seattle's defense is insane. They got to get C.J. Stroud some help. They got to get him some help on the offensive line. I mean, they can't do nothing. Houston might be the worst, like short yardage team of all time because they cannot run the football because they offensive line is that bad.
Wanted to get your thoughts on Rattler after this game and give you mine because I think he had an ugly game, obviously.
Yes,
which
for sure.
All QBs, no matter what level of QB, have bad games. It happens.
Yeah.
But I think, honestly, he's still moving in the right direction. Like, he didn't have any help from the run game, for sure, this week. And I think we should give him the opportunity to have a bounce-back game. I don't think you bench him for Shuck at this point with all the good we've seen from him throughout the season so far. And I know a lot of fans are going to want Shuck, but I don't think that's the play here. If we're going to start Shuck, I'm still on the board of if we're going to see what we have in Shuck, it's going to be after the bye week. But
yeah, agreed.
Just wanted to get your thoughts. Let me know what you think, and have a good one. Who dat?
Hey, who dat? Thank you, pal. I agree 100%. And you know, if we did not have Tyler Shuck waiting in the wings, if we didn't spend the second round pick on him, let's say you take Will Johnson or whatever, and let's say Jake Hayner's the backup quarterback, and you have a journeyman back there, whoever, right? A Joe Flacco-esque player. I don't think there would even be conversation about benching Rattler. The only reason the conversation is there is because of the unknown, the gambler's fallacy with Tyler Shuck. That's it. And I used the Etch-a-Sketch metaphor earlier. I think that's pretty much it as far as like why people want this change is they just want to see a different picture. And they're willing to believe that the picture is better. And it might not be. It might be the same. Who knows? But they're willing to take the risk because they're just tired of the same old, same old. Is that Rattler's fault? Is that fair for Rattler? I don't know. Is life fair? I don't know, right? And the gambler's fallacy is a dangerous thing for sure, and you can get caught up in it if you open, sports cards or trading cards or Pokemon cards or whatever. Like before you open the pack, everyone believes that the best cards are in that pack until they open the pack, and it could be a bad pack, could be a middling pack, could be a great pack, whatever. But until you open it, there's always the gambler's fallacy of the best cards are in this pack. Right, it's very normal. That's very normal human psychology. So when you have Tyler Shuck back there, who is a total unknown, I think that gambler's fallacy gets people ready to turn to him quick. But if he was a known asset, if he was Jameis Winston, I don't think people would say bench Rattler for Winston. I think people would say, okay, let's let Rattler develop. Let's let Rattler figure this out, and then we'll see what happens at the end of the season if we've got to draft somebody or whatever, right? Kind of similar to Miami, where Tua is Tua, and he's a known quantity at this point. but Quinn Ewers is not. Right, so I think people are saying, yeah, whatever, bench Tua, play Quinn Ewers because he's just an unknown guy. He's just an unknown quantity. I'm willing to take the risk, but I think they will give him a couple games to bounce back. I don't think it makes any sense to play Tyler Shough against Tampa, the Rams, or in the weird travel spot with Carolina. So, yeah, the bye week, give him 2 weeks to be the starter. It's the perfect blend. You simultaneously give Rattler time to figure it out and bounce back or whatever. You do him a solid. And then you also give Shough the most possible time to prepare and be ready for a start. Sypha, you're up next. Sypha, get in here, son.
What's up, James, man?
What's
I'm
up,
a
brother?
big fan, man. I think you're the best YouTuber in the world. But
I'm on a different level. I really am. I'm on a completely different level. Everybody knows it, and I appreciate you saying that.
anyways, how do you feel about the Kendre Miller injury, man? What's that going to do for the season? Are we going to be done for? Like, are we done with Kendre? Are we going to have to go to Devin Neal? We only got 2 running backs. Are we going to sign a running back? What's going to happen there?
Yeah, I mean, you hate to see it for Kendre Miller. He was finally kind of becoming what people said he was going to become. You know, people thought he had a lot of dynamic and raw ability, and he just needed a chance. And then the Dennis Allen stuff, the Dennis Allen stuff really kind of stalled out his early development. And then when Allen leaves, Kellen Moore gives him a fresh start. He makes the most of it. Got to the point to where he was going to be the pseudo starting running back and split time with Alvin Kamara, which probably would have been good for Kamara too. And now, an ACL is the worst possible injury for a running back. So just the Kendre Miller thing, like how does he bounce back? What's that rehab look like? What kind of player is he when he comes back? Who knows? But for this season, it doesn't change anything as far as the long-term outlook of this season. We weren't winning with Kendre Miller. We're not going to win without him. It hurts the running back room for sure. And Devin Neal, all of a sudden now, he's got to be thrust into the backup running back. He's going to have to get major carries. And can he make the most of it, right? So, yeah, it sucks. It sucks. You never want to see it. You never want to see it, especially for a guy who was playing well and who was basically, at certain points, he was our best player. He was our best weapon, for sure. So, yeah, it sucks. Thank you for the call. Divine Eternity, you're up next, man.
What's up, Jane? This is my instant reaction to the Bears loss.
There we go.
It was tough. We're 1-6 on the season, and man, I kind of expected us to lose in the same fashion as we normally do, where it's close, but we just
Yeah.
can't seem to just get over the hump. But this one particularly, this was like a low blow. I
think this was the game. This game was like more frustrating or harder to take than the other ones, because I think this was the game where like reality set in. Like this is the game where it's like, all right, the players who we thought were good, or it's just, it was the obvious moment where, okay, this is a long rebuild. Like, okay, this is going to be a process. Watching us run for whatever it was, like 2 yards a carry, just all the turnovers, not being able to stop the run. It just looked like it became very apparent very quickly what's like actually in front of us. And that's why I think this game was a little bit harder to deal with, because it was just it was like reality setting in of what actually is going to happen for this season and moving forward.
Said a lot of good things about Spencer Rattler, and I think right now, I think he's as good as it gets right now. I'm not one of the people who's asking to put Shough out there, because this is still a bad team at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
what everybody is trying to see, but me personally, I don't put that loss completely on Rattler. I think at some point we have to question how good is Kellen Moore at game planning, because in this particular game, I didn't like the game plan at all. There was one point where we tried to run the ball on a 3rd and 8, and this was early in the game before we was kicking the bucket and chopping it up. Like this was when we still had a chance to at least do something. I'm like, why are we running it on 3rd and 8 for like 1 and 2 yards and then punting? Like that didn't make no sense. Of course, this was in the first half before we showed that we had a little fight, but yeah, I mean, it's his first year, I get it. But yeah, and he wasn't ready for this. His game plan for this game was just not it, in my opinion. I said
I have a sneaky feeling because this game, like just from my perspective, this game went as completely opposite game plan wise as I could have ever predicted. And if y'all listen to my previews leading up to it, you know exactly what I thought was going to happen. I thought we were going to stop the run because we do stop the run. I thought we were going to have trouble with their receivers, especially down the field, like with Roma Dunze and some of these guys who are just dynamic down the field. I thought we were going to be able to run the football, but and try and keep things tight and keep things muck it up and run the football. And I thought it'd be a big Kendre Miller and Alvin Kamara day. Completely flipped. We could not run the football. Kendre Miller blows out his ACL. We stopped the receivers. We limited the pass game, but we gave up 200-something yards on the ground. Like everything was flipped in this game. It was a completely, even the passing game. I know the game kind of got out of hand, so it changes things, but we flipped our passing game from a short intermediate to all of a sudden we were bombing the ball. Like this was for sure the game that we pushed the ball the most downfield and had the most downfield success. Even in the red zone, right? Like even in the red zone, all of a sudden, Rattler finds Olave up the seam on an incredible throw and catch. Then he finds Olave again, tough catch. Like even that, Chris Olave all of a sudden, for the first time in his career, was like a dangerous red zone threat, making tough catches in the end zone. So it was just one of those things where it was so backwards. I don't know if Kellen had a game plan of, all right, guys, we're going to run the football. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. And then all of a sudden, it's like, damn, we can't do this. We can't do what the game plan was. All of a sudden, we can't do what I was planning to do. And I think Kellen adjusted in that middle part of the game, which is when we saw, the touchdown, and then we score again, and then we have a chance there until the turnover. But I don't know if it was just he was as surprised as I was at how different everything was. I don't know. But yeah, the beginning part of the game, we had 4 yards up until the touchdown before the half.
a lot of good things about Rattler in my last message I sent to you. I kind of still stand by a lot of what I said. I'm not going to pretend like Dennis Allen's defense isn't a good defense. I know Saints fans was looking for revenge and is glad he's gone, but let's not act like this man is not a defense genius. That
Yeah.
defense had us on lockdown. Like,
Yeah, he's a good DC. For sure. And we knew that. Everyone knows that. And he's a good DC. He's a bad head coach. That's the name of the game.
we can sit here and point at how bad we was as a squad on offense, but how about we kind of at least give the Bears defense some credit? Like they was locking us down, they was daring us to throw it, and they was stopping the run. Like
Yeah.
what do you do in that situation? They pretty much just took you out of the game.
He had Rattler in hell. He had Rattler in hell. He had the running game in hell. For sure. It was as good of a performance from the Bears defense as you could possibly ask for.
Man, that's kind of like where it ended on that note. So that's why I'm at with it. This is my instant reaction. We're 1-6 on the season. It's officially a rebuild, like it always has been. It still sucks to lose, but Kellen Moore needs one more chance, one more draft or two to really build his team.
Yeah, Kellen, the Kellen Moore conversation cannot even start until 2026. You got to see how he develops this season. He is a rookie head coach, so he's going to develop like a player is. You got to see how he develops, and then you got to see how the roster develops, who he drafts, what's going on. just look at the Giants, right? Like Brian Daboll was getting fired. He was getting fired. And then Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterbo has saved his entire career. I mean, not his career, but it saved his time with the Giants because they can't fire him now. Like, think about that. He was going to be canned, but now he cannot be fired because they don't want to break up him and Jackson Dart because Dart's playing so well. So, and it could be a thing like that with Kellen where, Brian Daboll's been there for a while, but, Kellen is going to have an opportunity to get through this season, get his guys in here, and try and build something. And just like Kellen Moore aside, you do not want to be a franchise that is cycling through coaches every year or every 2 years. You don't want to be the Panthers. You don't want to be the Jaguars. You want to be a relatively stable franchise, especially with a young head coach. It's different if we had Mike McCarthy or Ron Rivera or somebody. But Kellen Moore's 36 years old. So he's going to get 2 seasons, 2 draft classes before we can even think about, is Kellen Moore the guy or is he not the guy? So I've had people ask me, when do we have this conversation about Kellen Moore? When is he part of the discussion? And I said 2026, 2027. That's it. Set an alarm. Get your phone out, set an alarm for this time in 2026 or this time in 2027. But this year, Kellen Moore's playing with house money for the next 12 months. Die Hard, Who Dat, you are next.
James, this is not towards you or any other diehard fan. This is towards these Saints fans that just started being fans when we had the 2017 draft class and we wind up being good for the next 4 or 5 years. This is for y'all. Y'all don't know what it's like to be in a rebuild, right? So this is new for y'all. Y'all don't know what it's like to have a future Hall of Fame quarterback and a future Hall of Fame head coach and still going 7-9.
Yeah.
Y'all don't understand that.
Die Hard is spitting so hard, I'm going to restart his call.
James, this is not towards you or any other diehard fan. This is towards these Saints fans that just started being fans when we had the 2017 draft class and we wind up being good for the next 4 or 5 years. This is for y'all. Y'all don't know what it's like to be in a rebuild, right? So this is new for y'all. Y'all don't know what it's like to have a future Hall of Fame quarterback and a future Hall of Fame head coach and still going 7-9. Y'all don't understand that. y'all don't understand that. So, we had a rough patch for the past 2-3 years, and y'all complaining that y'all only know the Saints from winning. I didn't experience the good, the bad, and the ugly. So all this, man, we need to sell the team. Cut all that out, man. We 1-5. We got ample enough opportunity to at least win at least 8 games. You get what I'm saying? We dropped a few that we should have had. One we shouldn't have in Seattle, but we laid an egg. We laid an egg in Seattle. But anyway, man, James, I'm glad that you're the face of the franchise and you're keeping up the good content. You're not biased, keep it real, keep it a stack. And for all you new Saints fans or whatever, man, tough it out, thug it out. It's just what comes with being a Saints fan. It comes with the program. Y'all be all right.
10 out of 10 call. I mean, what a call. And good job using your blinker. I heard the blinker being utilized in the background. Safe driver. You love to see it. Yeah, I mean, look. You got a lot of PP pants, people drooling and slobbering all over their keyboard. 100%. And it's crazy. When you got people who want a rebuild, you're staring at a rebuild. We know what this is. We just got rid of our head coach. We just got rid of a handful of quote-unquote franchise players. We've had some bad stuff happen in the past with medicals. I mean, Ryan Ramczyk had to medically retire. Michael Thomas basically medically retired. Derek Carr medically retired. I mean, that's kind of crazy, right? You got multiple big-time, big contract core pieces who are medically having to retire all within 2 years of each other, right? So a lot's happened. This is a rebuilding team. We knew exactly what this was going to be. And now that the rebuild is here, you got people who are throwing a fit. And like my man said, this is way easier If you think this is bad, if you think this is miserable on Sunday, you couldn't even imagine what 7-9, 7-9, 7-9, and then 0-2 was like with Drew Brees and Sean Payton. Because you're watching Drew Brees, prime Drew Brees, you're watching Sean Payton, who you know is a good head coach, and then you just toil for 3 consecutive seasons. All right? And we're 7 games in, and we got people who want to fire Kellen Moore. Try and be 3 consecutive seasons in. 3.1 when you start off the next year, the 4th year, 0-2. Like, think about how long of a time that is to watch this and just have just complete mediocrity and just not know what the hell is going on. Right? That's way worse. That is way worse than 7 games. So, I mean, I agree. Like, the idea that hope is lost and it's all over and I can't believe this and I can't watch the games and I'll never watch the games again until we're good and all that. And we're not even talking about the Aaron Brooks seasons. We're not even talking about, those years where there's no hope on the horizon. You're just kind of a laughingstock franchise, right? So you gotta, if you're in the mindset where it's woe is me, I can't watch this team, I can't believe this, this is, I'm ripping my hair out. You got to toughen up, Buttercup, pull your bootstraps up. This is a rebuild. This is what it's about, right? This is what it is. And start watching the game on Saturday. I've said that before. Watch Indiana, watch Oregon, watch these teams, watch Ohio State, watch Alabama, watch Georgia. You better start watching college football because the answer to the Saints' question is playing on Saturday. It's not playing on Sunday right now. The answer isn't MVS, bringing in MVS. The answer isn't, well, maybe we should play Mason Tipton. The answer isn't, well, what do you think if we let Taysom Hill be the quarterback? All that's just nothing. The answer is on Saturday. And it's in the draft class, and it's in next year's draft class, and it's in this free agency, and it's in next year's free agency. That's where it's at. So, this is it. This is the rebuild. Good call. That was a great call. That's fantastic. All right, Divine Eternity. Again, so a lot of these calls now we're shifting into 2 days ago. So I'm filming this on a Tuesday, so this is probably before the Bears game. Now we're getting into that point.
What's up, James? Face of the franchise. It's good to be back. I'm glad you got the speed pipe
Yes.
back up and rolling.
Yes.
Nobody does it like you do it over here, man.
I'm the best in the world.
One of the best in the business.
No, the
Glad
best.
you're a Saints fan.
Yeah.
It's glad to have you as a Who Dat brother. No doubt.
There it is. I appreciate you.
I want to talk about Spencer Rattler. I think he's doing a phenomenal job as the starting quarterback for the New Orleans Saints. He's decisive. He protects the football. He's fast with the ball. He's getting the ball out. He just seems reliable, man. Like, he's playing high quality football if I had to describe his production. But I want to speak to my Who Dat brothers and sisters, man.
Real quick, I know a lot of people are going to hear this call after the Bears game and be like, what? He was reliable. He turned the ball over 4 times, right? But if you would have asked me before the Bears game, I would have said the exact same thing. And one game, you can't waver on your, how you're reviewing a player or a team because of one game. Baker Mayfield was ass on a stick against Detroit on Monday night. Sam Darnold was ass on a stick against the Houston Texans. Does that mean that everything they did before was a mirage? No. Absolutely not. All that's the same. They had a bad game. They got. Detroit got Baker. Houston's defense got Sam Darnold. Does it mean that all of a sudden they're not the MVP candidates we thought they were? Does it mean that all of a sudden they're not good or whatever? No. It's a game. Now they have a little more equity than Spencer Rattler does. Rattler's played at this point, he's played almost a full season if you combine the 2 seasons. But, last year was a bit of a weird situation with the interim head coach and a lot of injuries, whatever. But So they got a little more equity built up than Rattler, for sure. I'm not saying Rattler is Darnold or Mayfield. But up until the Bears game, Rattler has played admirably. Has he been an all-pro MVP candidate, unbelievable rookie? No. But he was playing well. And he was absolutely efficient, safe with the football. He had one pick. A lot of people were saying he was too safe. A lot of people were saying he was way too safe with the football. And they wanted to see him push the ball downfield. They wanted to see him take chances. All right. So I agree. I think Rattler has been admirable in the year and a half-ish that he's had to be the quarterback of this team. Will he have a statue built in Champion Square? Probably not. But he has absolutely taken a really bad situation, and he's done what he can to make the most out of it. And I mean, for that, you gotta applaud him.
Who's doubting the kid? I think people need to tone that back because it's a damn shame when you have other people from other fan bases telling you that you guys may have your starting quarterback already. Like this, they're telling us Spencer Rattler is good, man. Like he's playing good football, but you can go through comments and see it seems like most of the hate he gets comes straight from our fan base. And I just think that's a shame. People really need to, tone it down a little bit because anybody with eyes can see Spencer Rattler is playing great, high quality football. And I'm even disappointed in some of the Saints local media that's pushing this Tyler Shuck narrative that we're going to see him. But I mean, I get it. The Saints drafted him, but I mean, people forget that there was a quarterback competition and Spencer Rattler won, but it seems like people don't even want to give him that credit. It's almost like, I don't know, we're in denial about how good our quarterback is, and we're all supposed to be Saints fans. But what's your thought?
Yeah, I mean, I think it is weird. I think the divide is weird, and it reminds me a lot of the Jameis Winston, Andy Dalton divide, where, and in today's day and age, I think people do want to be right. They do want to plant their flag. They do want to be on the right side. And it kind of became almost like a political discourse where, during a presidential race or whatever, you hear people who are cheering for their candidate almost like a sports team instead of just looking at the what they're running on or the actual policy or the actual topics. They're more just rooting for this individual because they want to be on the right team. They want to root for, whatever. And I feel like that's how it was with Winston and Dalton, where you had a lot of people who were Jameis Winston truthers or Andy Dalton truthers. And it's guys, it doesn't matter. Whether it's Winston or Dalton, this team is kind of middling. It's an average team. This is just a bridge to the next quarterback. Whether you're playing this guy or that guy, it doesn't really matter. Right? And you had people who were, and we were doing videos at the time, and you had people who were living and dying on the hill of either Andy Dalton or Jameis Winston. And I would be saying, how can you be that strong on Jameis Winston or Andy Dalton? I mean, there were people, one guy wrote a book. There's a guy who was up in my comment section nonstop who wrote a book on Jameis Winston and why he should be a starting quarterback in the NFL. And it's man, I mean, we're talking about 72 overalls in Madden here. And I see the same thing with the Tyler Shuck, Spencer Rattler thing, where instead of just letting the process play out, they've created this basically a divide in the Saints community where it's not about the Saints. It's about Rattler starting or not starting and Shuck starting or not starting. Shuck's going to start. He's going to get an opportunity. Rattler is getting the opportunity now. And like you said, there was a quarterback competition. Rattler won that. So I've had comments recently after the Bears game that are saying, how did we get to this point? Why is Spencer Rattler the starter to begin with? It's that's the easiest part. That's the easiest question to answer. The answer to that question is they were given a quarterback competition, a long one, if y'all remember. Rattler won it. He's been given this many games to see what's going on. He played pretty well up into the Bears game. He vomited on his shoes in Chicago. And so now the clock is ticking to when we will see Tyler Shuck. But I think both sides of the aisle are in the wrong. I think we got to be way closer to the middle of, is Spencer Rattler the problem? No. Is he the solution? Probably not. Is Tyler Shuck the problem? No. Is Tyler Shuck the solution? Probably not. It's a week-to-week thing. It's a week-to-week thing. And I could care less who is starting, whether it's Rattler or Shuck. I just want the best player to be playing. I want the best thing for the team. I'm not, rooting for either one of them. I'm rooting for the long-term health and progress of the New Orleans Saints. That's what I'm rooting for. And I think it's nuts. I think it's crazy when I see like the Tyler Shuck 6969 username YouTube comments that are like, what do you guys say about your boy Rattler now? And it's like, what the hell? What are we talking about? First of all, what second round draft pick has usernames made about him? It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. Like, could you imagine? I mean, I know Jake Hayner wasn't, but Jake Hayner 1919 usernames, like, what's going on here? What are we doing? Do something else. Go fly a kite. There's a lot of other hobbies. Build a whatever, like a one of those mini cars. Build a ship. Put it in a bottle. I don't know. But rooting, like living or dying for a second round pick to start over the 5th round pick. It's like, man, we got a long way to go. Like, more than likely, this is just how percentages work. But more than likely, neither one of these guys are going to be the guy. Like, more than likely, this is the same as Andy Dalton and Jameis Winston. Granted, they're way younger, but more than likely, these guys are just bridges to the next franchise quarterback. Now, Rattler could, or Shuck could, whatever, you never know, but more than likely, this is just the next step to the next step. There's a long way to go with this thing. So we got to keep that in perspective. All right, Alex, you're up next.
Hey, James. I just had a question regarding the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to the secondary.
Yes.
What I don't understand when it comes to our secondary is when it comes down to 3rd and shorts or even 3rd and longs, it seems like all of our corners are 10 yards off the line of scrimmage, nowhere near the receiver.
Yeah.
And we allow all these underneath passes that get developed into these big-time runs or big-time gains.
True.
I just want to know your input on what the thought process even is with Brandon Staley regarding 3rd downs being 10 or even more yards off the line of scrimmage.
I think what's happening on 3rd down is similar to what's happening in the red zone for the offense, where up until 3rd down, the defense is kind of a bend don't break, like not play off of the receivers, but it's kind of keep everything in front of you, right? Like, you give up the 5-6 yard gain if it means not giving up 20-yard gain. It's kind of the idea, okay? Offense, right? The idea is, well, let's just matriculate down the field. 5-yard gain here, 6-yard gain here, 7-yard gain here. In the red zone and on 3rd down, it flips. All of a sudden, on 3rd down, there is no bend don't break, because if you're willing to give up the 7-yard, 8-yard gain, then you're kind of willing to give up the third down conversion. Similarly, if you're in the red zone and you're like, well, we'll just matriculate down the field, there is no more down the field. So now you got to do the opposite. Now you got to push into a condensed area of the red zone. So it's like what the offense and defense are doing in those moments, they got to turn it around and flip it and do the opposite. Fangio's defenses, which is Brandon Staley's part of the Fangio tree. He might be the biggest branch on the Fangio tree. He's like the Fangio disciple. He was with Fangio and everywhere he's been. And Fangio's defenses are notoriously difficult to learn, and usually the teams struggle early in the year before the players kind of figure it out and see what's going on. So it could be a little bit of everything. It could be a little bit of like, they're just not up to snuff on the system yet, and they're not good enough in those moments to flip everything and be clamping down on third down. What also doesn't help on third down is when you don't get pressure. And up until the Bears game, when Chase Young wasn't in, we were getting no pressure. We were the worst team in the NFL at getting pressure on the quarterback. Well, that's a bad recipe on third down when you don't have the playmakers on the back end, but you also are giving the quarterback so much time, because then that makes it harder on the cornerbacks. So I think it's just a mix of a roster problem, a system, confusion right now. So that's what I think's going on with the defense. All right, Jay, you're up next.
What's up, man? I
What's up?
had a few thoughts as far as it pertains to our receiving core.
Well, you're in
And
the
by
right
the way,
place.
I just got to say shout out to you, man. I've been watching your videos for probably the last few years. I've been here for a while, so I just want to say that and just let you know that you're doing good work. Okay.
Hey, I appreciate that. I appreciate every viewer. It was not too long ago I was doing videos for 8 viewers. It was not that long ago. We were doing full-on recaps and previews and whatever, daily videos for less than 100 viewers. So I appreciate every viewer. I appreciate everyone who has been part of this journey. We're the top of the mountain. We're the most watched, most viewed, most engaged, whatever channel in this space. And that's all because of y'all.
Anyways, so I've been seeing a lot of people saying we need to get rid of Olave and
Yeah.
keep Shaheed. But in my opinion, I feel like it should be the other way around. I feel like we should flip that and we should
Yeah,
honestly
agreed.
try to trade Shaheed and keep Olave because
Yeah, I agree with that.
Olave's ceiling, in my opinion, is much, much higher than Shaheed's. And Shaheed is a great number 3. And I think he would be on most teams. But he, right now, is supposed to be our quote unquote number 2. And I feel like Olave would be so much better with your typical wide receiver 1. So I feel like we should try to draft somebody first round next year. Try to trade Shaheed. Might be able to get decent value for him. But those are really my thoughts, and I have other thoughts, but I'm gonna keep it short and simple right now. But I think we should trade Shaheed, keep Olave. That seems to be going against the grain, but those are my thoughts. Yeah, that's it. Keep it up.
You're seeing things clear. I would do the exact same thing. I mean, I think Shaheed is fine. He is a specific player. I mean, he is a burner. He is what would have been a wide receiver 3 back in the day, like a slot burner who's exclusively running deep routes, spreading the field, whatever. Yeah, I don't think he is a quote unquote wide receiver 2. Granted, I don't think the positional designation really exists anymore, but I don't think he's that. And I wouldn't pay him $25 million a year, whatever, $20+ million a year. I think you kind of figure it out elsewhere. Like you said, I think Chris Olave is a really good receiver. Is he Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase or whoever? No, he's not. Right? He's a different skill set, different player. But if there was a wide receiver 1, if you had whoever as your wide receiver 1, as your dominant guy who Chris Olave is playing off of, I think Chris Olave is about as good of a wide receiver 2 as you can have, unless you're in a situation where you've got Cooper Kupp at his prime and Puka Nacua. But he's up there with what you want in a wide receiver 2. What is not a thing in this situation is addition by subtraction. You don't make your wide receiver room better by getting rid of your best wide receiver, which is Chris Olave. So if the problem is we don't have playmakers at the wide receiver spot, we're not good enough at the wide receiver spot, it doesn't make any sense to try and remedy that by getting rid of your best wide receivers, because you still have to replace Chris Olave. If you trade Chris Olave for a third and Rashid Shaheed walks, what the hell are you going to do now? You got Mason Tipton, Bub Me. I mean, now you got to replace everybody. Now, let's say you draft Carnell Tate or whoever, Jordan Tyson from Arizona State. Okay. Well, now you got one receiver. So wouldn't you rather have Chris Olave and build on the foundation of him in your wide receiver room? So I think fans want to shake things up, change things to change things. This ain't the corporate world. This isn't where someone does worse or less than you expect, so you fire them or release them. This is the NFL. People are on contracts. There are salary cap implications. There's a roster. You have to fill a roster. It's not a 1-for-1. There's a lot more to it. The idea of bench, after the last game, bench Chris Olave or release Chris Olave or trade Chris Olave, bench or release or whatever, Juwan Johnson, bench or release or whatever, blank player. It's like, okay, well then what do you do then? You're going to bench Chris Olave for Mason Tipton? What does that solve? You're just getting worse, right? Why would you do that? So, I think it's just the fastest way in a fan's mind to change things is bench, trade, or cut. But in reality, usually those aren't even the option. It's not even, Rashid Shaheed, he's on the last year of his deal. If the front office does not plan on extending him, if they don't plan on moving forward with him, then it's you probably have to trade him because you don't want to lose him for nothing, right? So, but Olave, he has a 5th-year option. I mean, they got a lot of wiggle room here. So, yeah, I agree. If it was me, I would build on Olave. I would absolutely draft a wide receiver. I mean, let's say you get Cardinal Tate, right? I'm cool going into the season with Cardinal Tate and Chris Olave, and then go from there. Do what you can do. I'd be all for that. I mean, Rashid Shaheed, if we drafted Tez Johnson in the 7th round this year, and Tez Johnson, pretend you have next year going into it with Cardinal Tate, Chris Olave, and Tez Johnson. He's your 3. He's your burner. He's your speed guy. Okay, I'm all right with that. Yeah, I'm cool with that. So I agree with you. I think the Chris Olave stuff is crazy overblown. Miles, you're up next.
Hey James, I'm actually listening to one of your videos and right now about Alvin Kamara and the Pina Colada situation.
Yeah, there you go.
But I just want to go ahead and say
this is like Jamesception. I hear myself in the background while listening to a voicemail on this video. Crazy.
I've been a big fan of you for the past 2 years.
Yeah, I'm the best.
From the 228, Biloxi.
Shout out Biloxi.
Representing us.
Yeah, stand up.
I've been trying to beat up with you one of these days in Champion Square, but we'll figure it out one day.
Rarely am I in Champion Square. I'll say that. I was there before the Giants game, but usually, my game days are pretty nuts, especially with, sports betting and all that stuff. So, but I'll try and figure it out. I'll try and figure out where we, where the viewers can meet up with the face of the franchise. It's always good to see people. I get, I meet a lot of people out in the city, at bars or restaurants, or if I'm walking around the French Quarter, I've seen people and talk to people. So it's always good to see the viewers. So yeah, if you see me out and about, if you see me, I'm almost always in the French Quarter or in the CBD. I usually don't venture out into, Marigny or Uptown or whatever. So if you're out and about in the French Quarter or the CBD and you see the superstar, feel free to say what's up.
But man, I just, I think this team's headed in the right direction. I really got high hopes for Spencer Rattler. And my question is where do you think we should go in the draft as far as a receiver? That's what I think. But, I mean, I know we kind of need everything. But, yeah, man, this is mainly just a support for you, dog.
My man.
But, yeah, man.
Yeah.
You the man.
You're the man. The draft, I think the draft is pretty simple. You take the best player and you start stacking talent, and that's it. If Ruben Bain is the best player on the board, take him. If Jordan Tyson or Carnell Tate or whoever, wide receiver, is the best on the board, take him. I think I would get away from the less impactful positions, center, safety, stuff like that, but, guards, whatever. But you got to, at this point, you just got to fill the roster with good players. And if we get a high-level edge, defensive tackle, cornerback, running back, tight end, but we don't get we don't get a wide receiver, fine, whatever. You can't get it all at once. But the goal right now is to just get a better roster. So get players who can play, get players who you think will be high-impact players, no developmental players, and keep doing it and just rotate, repeat. That's what we got to do right now. Whoever it is, fine. I don't think you force anything. I don't think you force a receiver. I don't think you force an edge player. I don't think you force a defensive tackle. Just whoever's the best there. If someone that you have high rated falls, take them. Like when Jalen Carter fell in his draft, take him. If you're drafting and a player like Ashton Genty falls, take him. If you're, whoever, if Ted McMillan, he falls, take him. Players like that. Like, just get the best player at the spot, highest value you can. Apollo, you're next. Apollo, you all right?
Sorry, I heard the face of the franchise.
You all right, brother?
I was bringing back voice messages. I got so excited, hyped up on adrenaline, freaking fell out my chair trying to hit record.
It happens. Jesus, it happens, man. Take it easy. I know you're excited. I'm excited too, but we can't have dislocated shoulders and dislocated elbows or whatever during a call.
Anyway, let's get into my question.
Yeah,
well, actually, before I go there, I just want to say to anybody listening to this, watching the YouTube video, remember to like and subscribe to the face of the franchise.
Great point. Did y'all notice I never say that? Do y'all notice that I never say like and subscribe? I never say, you never see me do an intro or a random cut in the middle of the video and say, hey guys, did you know that 70% of you aren't subscribed? Please subscribe to the channel. I never say that. Isn't that interesting? And you watch all these other channels and half the video, they're talking about like and subscribe rate, they're cutting into an ad or whatever else. But I do appreciate that, Apollo, for doing my job for me.
Anyway, moving on.
Yeah.
So obviously Spencer Rattler is playing good. And let's just say he keeps playing this way throughout the whole season. And it's still mathematically possible, but we're 1-5. We're not making the playoffs.
Yeah.
So at what point does
Correct.
Kellen go, Rattler's playing good, but let's just put Shuck in to see what we have in Shuck, what we have there. At what point during the season does Kellen at least start to think about that?
So this is 3 days ago. So this is before the Bears game, obviously. But the answer is you got to for Kellen is twofold. The first part of the question is, when is Tyler Shuck ready? Right? We don't really know, but that's the first step. If he's not ready, you certainly don't roll him out there. You don't force him to play just to play. So that's the first step. But let's pretend he is ready, okay? The next step is, what is the best landing spot? Like, what gives him the biggest chance to succeed? I think that's a bye week, because you get 2 weeks, you get a lot of time, a lot of reps, a lot of prep. The worst time to do it would be like a short week or like a crazy travel spot, like going from the LA to Charlotte, for example, where you're already on a weird schedule where you're traveling back, you're probably you're a day off of reps and game plan and all that. You're just in a weird spot. All right. So that is basically how you formulate your answer. And in this situation, I think the perfect landing spot is Atlanta. You're at home, you're off the bye, you're off the LA and Panthers game. It begins kind of an easy stretch of the season where all of a sudden you start playing the Jets and the Titans, and you start playing some of these teams where it's like, okay, it's not, you're not feeding him to whatever, Seattle and the Bills and whoever else. So that's where I would do it, regardless or irregardless, as some of my friends would say, of how any individual performance, like the Bears game. The Bears game would not expedite my plan. I would stay true to my plan. I mean, there are a lot of, I know this is back in the day, Acura days, but a lot of times quarterbacks got shut down. Like, rookie quarterbacks were like, hey, he's not playing this year. I don't care what happens. He's holding a clipboard for a year, 2 years, right? You would go 2 years without seeing a rookie quarterback play. Now that, I'm not saying that's the way to do it, but I don't think you make a knee-jerk reaction because of a bad game and then jeopardize the development of your guy. So that's how I would do it. That's how I think Kellen's doing it, and I have full belief that it will be the Atlanta game. Anthony, you're up. Anthony, are you there? Big Anthony? Antoine? You there, brother? What's going on here? Voicemail. Let me redo the voice. Anthony.
James,
All right, there
face
we
of
go.
the franchise.
Yeah,
I've been watching you for a few years. You're probably my favorite YouTuber.
probably. What do you mean probably? What do you watch? What are you watching? Pokimane? Who else are you watching? What do you mean probably?
And by the way, I live in Salt Lake City. If you ever come back, Little
Shout
America
out.
Hotel.
Wait, which one? I was just in Salt Lake not too long
City,
ago.
if you ever come back, Little America Hotel.
Little America Hotel. Okay, I love Salt Lake. I thought it was awesome. Utah, give me two. I'm a big fan of Utah. Big fan of Utah. I would absolutely go back. 100%.
Just saying. But anyways, I know you're always saying you hate when people compare players to the old players. For example,
Yeah.
next Marcus Colston, next
Right.
Michael Thomas,
Yeah.
whatever, living in the
Yeah.
past, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But we definitely need an alpha receiver on our team, and we just do not have it. And Michael Thomas isn't been, nobody seems interested. If you could get him on a cheapish deal, do you think it's worth bringing him back just because he fits that big-bodied receiver type that we need, or do you think he's just past it? The game is passing by, and it's time to just draft somebody else. Love to hear back.
Yeah, I mean, I think you just go with somebody else, and I think there is a no shade to Michael Thomas, but there is a reason he was not signed. Like there's a reason he's not on a team, and I also think you do run the risk of when you are. I'll give you an example: the New England Patriots. So recently, it was either last week or the week before, they were talking about how they've kind of done this rebuild and what has helped them and all that stuff, and the first thing and the main thing that they've been saying is that everything that happened the 15 years before is gone. They're not talking about Rodney Harrison. They're not talking about Teddy Bruschi. They're not talking about Bill Belichick. They're not talking about Tom Brady. They're not talking about Kevin Falk. They're not talking about Deion Branch. They're not talking about that because that's in the past. And the only way the Patriots can move forward is by starting anew. New culture, get rid of everything. There's no one in the building from the previous regime. Totally new. It's Mike Vrabel's team. It's a new version of the Patriots. That's where the Saints have to be. You got to remember, it is this year. This is the first year since 2005 that there is not, well, and that's not even true. That's not even true because there's a lot of the same players or whatever. But as far as the coaches, since 2005 that we have a new identity, a new vision, an outside voice or whatever. It was Sean Payton, then it was Dennis Allen and Pete Carmichael, then it was still Dennis Allen and Clint Kubiak, and Darren Rizzi, right? So now it is a completely fresh coat of paint. You do run the risk of having that old culture, identity, whatever, still in the building if you bring in Michael Thomas, I think. The only way forward for the Saints is to start anew. It's Kellen Moore's team. It's whoever's team, roster-wise. We can't keep searching for the ghosts of 2009 or the ghost of 2018 or the ghost of 2011 or the ghost of whatever. We got to find something new. We don't need the next, like the Patriots don't need the next Tom Brady. They need the next Drake May. They don't need the next Bill Belichick. They need the next Mike Vrabel. We don't need the next Sean Payton. We don't need the next Drew Brees. We need something else. That's the only way this thing's going to work. If we keep living in the past, if we keep relying on the past, we're just going to be stuck in the past. So, this is something else that I think the comparison, like I always talk about the comparison, because I think it's relatively, it's like there's other players, like there's other versions of Michael Thomas that exist, whether it's in the draft or free agency or a trade or whatever. There's other versions of Pierre Thomas or Chris Ivory or who, like, there's got to be a bigger, like, word box or multiple choice than just the same players. That's where I'm always like, it's too easy. And you hear this a lot during the draft too. Like you get a draft prospect and all of a sudden their NFL comp is the most obvious thing in the world. And it's like he didn't even play. They don't even play the same. It's just they just made like this super easy comp, whether it's like another quarterback who came from the college or whatever. So, but yeah, it was a long way of answering. But I do think we need to move forward with the roster and the vision and the identity and all that stuff. Anonymous, you're up next.
First, I want to say it is an honor,
Yes.
to speak with the face of the franchise.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
First thing first, I do not think the Tyler Shuck pick was a bad pick. A lot of people say it is, but I think that brought the best out of Spencer Rattler.
Certainly possible. Certainly possible. And we won't know until we won't know. I mean, remember, like, I know it's a different situation, but you had top 10 picks, Patrick Mahomes, who they don't play for a while. You don't know if it's a good pick or a bad pick until it's all fleshed out and played out. No clue. Right? We have no idea. There's some picks where I say, okay, that pick was probably a bad pick. The Mitchell Trubisky pick, we can say that now. The Anthony Richardson pick, we could probably say that now. The Kyle Pitts pick, even, right? The Michael Penix pick, even. Certain things like that. It's like, I don't know, it's kind of erring towards the whatever. But you got to see him play out. So we won't know if it's a good pick or a bad pick until it's all said and done.
He know that he's not Kellen Moore's guy, which is Kellen Moore didn't bring him in. So I got to go out here and ball like it's my last game, because if not, there is somebody that was picked by the coach that we now have, which is new, that he might want on the field before me. So I can't go out here and mess up. That's the mindset Rattler have, and I think that's why we're getting the best out of him. So I think that pick was A+. If you really know ball, I'm a ball knower, James.
Yeah, pause.
Excuse me, I am a ball knower. Mr. Face of the franchise.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think Olave is getting traded. I think we're keeping Olave.
Yep.
Kellen Moore got a plan.
Yeah.
And I don't think who wants to get rid of their best wide receiver? Everybody keeps saying, oh, he's not a wide receiver one. Okay, he can be a two. Like, who said why would you get rid of he's a good player, bro. Why would you get rid of him? Like, it makes no sense. It's a lot of non-ball knowers without a fan base, and they just
a lot of Madden, a lot of bad Madden GMs. Honestly, with that kind of mindset, where it's like Olave drops a couple passes, he's our best wide receiver, and it's like, all right, get rid of him. For what? Why? Bench him. For who? What means? Like, what does benching him do? How does that help anything?
Should be quiet. Rashid Shaheed, I don't really think we get rid of Shaheed too. Then I'm just looking at how we are with players. We really loyal to players, if I'm being honest. Like Miss Benson and Mickey Loomis, I just don't think they're gonna move off them two. Just being honest, I do think if anything, it could be a linebacker that get moved. Might be Pete Werner or somebody. DeMario, San Fran, they might get him. Fred is out. Their team is depleted anyway.
Yeah, I think that one makes a lot of sense. That's the one that whenever the whole trade conversation started, the one where I was like, that does kind of make sense. It does kind of line up. They probably would make a move for him, like, okay. And then for the Saints, you probably do move off of him because you have Danny and you have some young players, and like, okay, that one kind of makes sense. The Chris Olave one doesn't make any sense. The Rashid one is just like, do you want to pay him? That's the conversation. Does the front office want to pay him? And what does he want? Like, how much money does he actually want? If he does actually want, and I'll tell you this too, this is another sidebar, but the fact that him and Olave have the same agent does kind of put you in a sticky situation, because you're going to be leveraged whichever way you go about it. If you give Rashid Shaheed money, then Chris Olave is going to want more money. So you're kind of negotiating for both contracts at the same time. If you can talk Rashid Shaheed down, then it's like, all right, well, I've also now kind of talked Chris Olave down, because now the floor and the ceiling, they move the same. They're correlated. All right, whatever Rashid Shaheed gets, Chris Olave is getting more. Right? No doubt about it. So as you negotiate those contracts, you go up and down. So if Rashid Shaheed is like, no, I'm hard stuck at $25 million. It's like, well, damn, that means that if I'm paying Chris Olave, like, let's say you plan on paying Olave. If Rashid Shaheed says I'm hard stuck at 25, then you're thinking, okay, well, now I have to pay Olave like 27, 30. Do I want to do both of those? Probably not. So you almost, like, depending on how the conversation goes, you may have to move off of Shaheed just to keep Olave. That's just a little financial,
But hey, it's a possibility. I don't really think DeMario going over either. Alvin Kamara already stated his case. I do think Pete might, especially with Danny Stutzman getting some play last Sunday.
Well, you also got to remember who's trading for who. Like, who's trading for Pete Werner? Who's trading for Alvin Kamara?
Last game, he was getting, some play and everything. But, yeah, man, speaking my mind, face of the franchise, I appreciate you. You the GOAT.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you very much for the call. Yeah, it takes two to tango. And, people are like, you got to trade we got to trade, whatever, Trey Palmer. So who the hell is trading for? What do you mean? Like, we just traded, we just got him. You're like, oh yeah, I heard someone say we got to trade Tyler Shuck for a second. What? Who's trading? Why would any team do that? So a lot of it is based on like what other teams are willing to do and want to do. T. Russ, you're up next.
James, what's up?
What's up,
Have
brother?
you had any offensive playmakers in your radar so far before we get to the draft? I was just looking at Chris Bell, and he's looking sweet.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, for sure. I watch, obviously, a ton of college football. College football's been great this year. It's been really enjoyable. I just watched the Arizona State Texas Tech game because I had Texas Tech, and Jordan Tyson completely dominated that game. So I was very impressed with him. Always impressed with the wide receivers at Ohio State. Every year, it seems like, whether it's, obviously the group of Emeka Egbuka. And I loved him last year going into the draft. I loved Lad McConkey going into his draft. I think Cardell Tate and Jeremiah Smith are really, really good, however it plays out. And, but yeah, there's a ton of good players out there for sure. There's a ton of good playmakers, a lot of football left. There's a lot of football left. Ryan Williams last year for Alabama was really good. We'll see how that plays out. But there's playmakers out there for sure. So it's just one of the, now there may not be the tight end. Like last year, you had Tyler Warren, who every game was doing something insane. We were huge on Tyler Warren going into this draft. And then Brock Bowers, obviously. But it doesn't seem like the tight end is as elite as it's been the last couple of years. But a lot of football left to be played. But I've said it before, and I'll say it again. If you want to find the answers to the Saints' problem, they're on Saturday, not Sunday. I am relatively down on the quarterback class, though. I would not take Fernando Mendoza or Dante Moore or Ty Simpson or any of those guys first overall, and I'm seeing a lot of them mocked first overall. I think the quarterback class is relatively down, so I wouldn't get involved with any of them. Max, you're up next.
All right, face the franchise. I just
Wow.
wanted to kind of come in and ask, if you were to trade anyone on the Saints team
Yeah.
for picks in the upcoming draft,
Yeah.
who would you trade and why? And who do you think we could afford to lose via trade? And what do you think we could get for them, realistically? Anyways, peace out, mate. Bye-bye. All the way from England, mate. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Go Arsenal. Love it. Across the pond. Love to hear the international viewers. Thank you very much, Max, for the call. Thank you. The way I look at trades, three different things. Okay, one, the contract. What is the contract situation? Like Chris Olave, he's on a rookie deal. You have a fifth-year option. Now's probably not the time to trade him. Rashid Shaheed, last year of his deal. If you don't plan on signing him, trade him. Okay. Next step is a player like Demario Davis, where he's an older player, he's an aging player, and you have who you think could be his replacement in the building. So now it's like, all right, well, if we trade him, he's an aging player, he's a bigger contract. It's probably time to get something for him anyways, and we have the replacement. You don't want to trade someone who then you just have a void, like Chris Olave. If you trade Chris Olave, what does that do to Tyler Shuck? What does that do to Spencer Rattler? Let's pretend Eric McCoy was healthy. You don't want to trade Eric McCoy. He's the guy who's mentoring and leading and whatever of that line. So he's 28 years old. Now I know he tore his bicep and all that, but what does trading him do for Kelvin Banks? What does trading him do for Talise Fuaga? What does trading him do for Trevor Penning and the quarterbacks? You're turning a situation into a negative by making a move like that. The Marshawn Lattimore thing, good example. It's like, okay, you need to trade him at that point. It's a salary cap situation. He's at that point, you're probably thinking he's past his prime and you can get something for him. Great trade, right? So you got to look at those three things: the cap or the contract, the age, what you're getting back. Obviously, you don't want to trade someone and get nothing in return. You don't want to trade, you don't want to lose all the value for no reason. And then what's the plan moving forward? Okay, you moved off this asset. what do you have now? What's the trickle down effect to the rest of the team? All right, so if it was me, I would look at trading Rashid Shaheed first, depending on how they view him long term. Demario Davis would be probably the next person because you could probably get the most for him, and it kind of lines up with the window of what you're trying to do. But that's how I would approach it. Simon is the last call. It's been a long video. Simon, the main event.
James Skrmetta, what is up?
What's happening, brother?
I'm officially in the Skrmetta-verse. It's everything I thought it would be. It looks
Yes.
amazing.
It's unbelievable.
Love it.
Yes.
Face of the franchise, I want to thank you for doing what you do.
Thank you.
I've been listening to you for like probably like a little bit more than a year now, and the way you break everything down with the metrics, the analytics,
yes.
Not a lot of people is doing that, and I appreciate that. Like,
yeah, no one does it. Everyone else is like, the Bills are good because Josh Allen's good. It's like, well, wait a minute. What do you mean?
It's a rare commodity,
yeah.
and you keep on doing what you're doing.
Thank
you. Yeah, thank you for that.
Thank you.
My subject is, I want to say that I think, like how you had a controversial yet brave assessment. You said Kellen Moore is going to be the next best coach of the Saints, will be better than Sean Payton.
Yeah.
I think that Spencer Rattler is the next franchise QB. If he keeps on, I'm not saying that he is the next Drew Brees. Not everybody has to be Drew Brees, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning,
right,
etc. to be a franchise QB.
That's true. That is true. You don't have to be a Hall of Famer to be a franchise quarterback. You don't have to be. Yeah, that is absolutely true. You can be good, above average, whatever. You don't have to be a top 10 quarterback to ever live to be a franchise quarterback.
I think that Spencer Rattler, if he keeps on progressing the way he is, that he's the franchise QB, and we've got our guy. He steps up in the pocket. He's fearless. He moves well in the pocket. He has a great deep ball. One thing I would like to see him do better is to be a little bit more accurate. And he was I think last game against the Patriots, he was way more accurate than what we've seen. The team around him and the guys around him just let him down.
Yeah, I agree with that. And Rattler has been erratic at times, and he was erratic in the Bears game. He's been erratic before too. In the Bills game, he missed Brandon Cooks. In the whatever game it was, Arizona or maybe it was San Francisco, he missed Chris Olave in the end zone for sure. I mean, in the Bears game, the Mason Tipton interception, he was wide open. He just threw it behind him. Right, so like he absolutely can be erratic.
But yeah, everything that I see, I think I like what I'm seeing from Spencer Rattler. He can take off, he can scramble. He looks like he can lead a room, and he's shown some fire in the.
Yeah, that's something else that was opposite in the Bears game, is that Rattler didn't run, and that's where he's been at his best, is when he's scrambling, running around. He ran 2 times for like 12 yards.
Patriots game, and that's what you need. So he has the personality, he has the moxie, he has all of these intangibles of a franchise QB. It's just time for him to develop into that. And like I said, he's been getting better every game. Like how the metrics, the EPA, he's looking great. He's always the top guy or one of the top guys on offense. He's been consistently the best offensive player, like how you said.
Yeah.
And I think that if he just keeps on growing, like, he's going to be the franchise QB. He needs live action games to develop. So people waiting for Tyler Shuck, I mean, I'm not speaking bad on Tyler Shuck at all, but from what I see right now, I want to keep on seeing Spencer Rattler. And that's no knock to Tyler Shuck, but that's what I would like to see. And I think that if he keeps on progressing, that there would be no need to see Tyler Shuck and see what he can do. Get some guys around Spencer Rattler. Keep all your picks in the draft. Build your team, and then, that's our franchise QB, I believe. Thank you.
Great call. It's such a unique situation when it comes to like franchise quarterbacks and not franchise quarterbacks, because a player can be a franchise quarterback and then very quickly not be, or vice versa. They can be cast off and then all of a sudden become a franchise quarterback, right? Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, Geno Smith. Other way, Mac Jones. Mac Jones was the franchise quarterback of the New England Patriots. He had an incredible rookie year, almost won Rookie of the Year. And then the next year, benched for Bailey Zappi. The next year, gone. it happens very quickly. Where, I mean, Anthony Richardson, early on in Indianapolis, it was like, damn, this guy's legit. Like, this guy could take over. And then cast off, right? Daniel Jones, franchise quarterback in New York, go to the playoffs. All of a sudden, worst player of all time. All of a sudden, he's in Minnesota doing nothing. Now he's at Indy. He's a franchise quarterback for right now, right? Until he's not. Geno Smith, franchise quarterback, or cast out in the Jets, franchise quarterback in Seattle, goes to the Raiders. Horrible. So I think it's kind of fruitless to look at like the moniker of franchise quarterback. Trevor Lawrence, Tua, right? They're franchise quarterbacks. They've been at their drafted team. They got giant contracts, but are they really franchise quarterbacks? No. I look at it more of a like year by year or contract by contract kind of thing. Like Justin Herbert. Is he the franchise quarterback of the Los Angeles Chargers? Definition-wise, yeah. But what does that really mean? He's their guy, I guess. Like, he got the contract. Does that make you a franchise quarterback? Do wins make you a franchise quarterback? Does performance make you a franchise quarterback? And this, you can go back way. You can go way back and do the same exact exercise. Like Jay Cutler. Was Jay Cutler the franchise quarterback in Denver? Was he the franchise quarterback in Chicago? Did it really matter? Like, is Bo Nix the franchise quarterback in Denver, or is he just good? He'll probably get a big contract, but what does that mean? You know, it's one of those terms that gets thrown around a lot. And I would look at Rattler. I remember when Tyler Shuck got drafted, I had people who were like, can Tyler Shuck be a 10-year NFL vet? It's like, damn, how about we just start with, like, can he be good? You know, I'm not really concerned if he can play to 37 years old. Can he just be good right now? Can he be good in the window of the next, like, 2-3 years? Same with Rattler. Will he be the franchise quarterback? I don't know. I don't even know what that means. But as of right now, we just need to see him be good week in, week out. If they turn to Tyler Shuck, I'm more concerned of can he be good week in, week out than can he be the guy for the next 6-7 years. All right. So, you know, that's how I look at it. I don't really put a lot of stock into the terminology of the franchise quarterback. I don't know what it means, honestly. I mean, I don't know if it means you're there for a long time, or if it means you're getting a big contract, or if it means it's like a retroactive thing where you got to win stuff. I don't know. But I think Rattler's played okay. He's played fine up until this point. He had a horrible game in Chicago, bad game in Seattle, but he's been okay. Middle of the road, right? I wouldn't give him an enormous deal right now. I wouldn't extend him right now. I'd let him play out this contract, or not the whole contract, but I let him play out this year before I anointed him. Same with Tyler Shuck. You know, if Shuck comes in, he plays pretty well. Like, I think Jordan Love got his contract way too soon. Jordan Love had a good end of his first season. All of a sudden, he gets this huge contract, but now it's like, he's the guy, but is he the guy? So I just view it a little bit differently. It's a very, like, fast thing. Like, people want their franchise quarterback. They want to say, we've got a franchise guy. But all too often, like, it changes very fast. Changes very fast of, is someone a franchise guy? Are they not a franchise guy? Whatever. So, all right, we did it. We caught up. There it is. Man, that was a long video, an hour and a half. Thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. Speakpipe.com. Leave your voicemails. I will see you in the next video.